distribution companies and the government's efforts to resolve the debt sitting on their books so that they can start buying again and so that they don't become an NPL with banks. Joining us now is Mr. B.P. Sharma, the Managing Director and CEO of Bank of India, Mr. Pramod Dev, former chairman of the CERC, the industry regulator and a very keen watcher of the space. Also joining us is Mr. Ajay Jain, Energy Secretary of Andhra Pradesh. He's joining us on the phone line. Good morning to all three of you. Mr. Sharma, are you privy to any discussions between the government, central government and the state government? Can you enlighten us as to what the game plan is? Is the entire discom debt going to the state governments? What have you been told? Mr. Sharma, can you hear me?
Yes, tell me.
No, I was asking you, can you tell us, do you know anything about the government's game plan? Is the entire debt of the state, of the discoms, going to get shifted to state governments? Is that what the government is telling you?
I won't call it a game plan. See, a lot of money is stuck, public sector banks, even private sector banks. Some rehabilitation package has to come. In past, they tried with restructuring. It could not succeed. So the idea of transferring 50% debt to state government per se is a good idea. It will help the banks and it will help the discom companies. But the broader issue is not somebody picking up the liability. The broader issue is improving the efficiency of the discom.
Okay. So the plan is to transfer 50% of debt to the state governments, not the entire debt?
Right. 50%. Okay. Rest 50% comes under restructuring.
Okay, fair enough. Mr. Ajay Jain, the Energy Secretary.
And it will be more in technical restructuring.
I was just going to ask you, if you say restructuring, then at the moment there is no third category. If you restructure, it becomes an NPL, doesn't it?
See, regardless of whether it becomes an NP or not, 50% is being guaranteed by a state government itself is a welcome step. That reduces the risk weightage for that amount. And time to come, the efficiency improves. The money will come back to banks.
Okay, but then you're saying there is a very real danger of 50% possibly becoming NPLs in the case of some discoms.
Not as a general rule, maybe a very few companies where the record of recovery is so poor. Yes.
Okay. Let's get Mr. Ajay Jain, the Energy Secretary of Andhra Pradesh also. He joins in on the phone line. Mr. Jain, can you just start off by telling us what exactly is the Andhra Pradesh discom situation? What are the losses at this point and how much have the losses gone down by, say, in the last year or so?
Yeah. Lata, I think what has happened is we had, in the combined Andhra Pradesh, we had taken up the financial restructuring plan. At that time, there were 4 distribution companies, which are now actually 2 in Andhra Pradesh and 2 in Telengana. So as part of the FRP in the combined state, at that time, 17,000 crores was the outstanding losses. So of which 50% was taken over by the state government and 50% was converted into a long-term debt. In that, the Andhra Pradesh, as far as AP is concerned, we had about 8,800 crores, in which 4,400 crores have been taken over by the state government, and the state government on an annual basis is the interest as well as the principal, and whereas the another 50% has been converted into a long-term debt. Now, after post 2014, after the bifurcation of states, now we have taken up a series of measures to improve the efficiency, both technical and financial, of the distribution companies. The main priority has been to reduce the AT&C losses. So it was around 13.94%. We already had one of the lowest losses in that. And I'm happy to inform you that in this financial year, as on August, we had been able to bring it down to 10.37%, which is one of the lowest in the country. So a big focus is being given on the reduction of both technical as well as commercial losses. Secondly, another parameter is regular filing of tariffs and see that a nominal increase of tariff takes place. Very hefty tariff also cannot increase. It puts a burden on the consumers. At the same time, if we don't increase, then it affects the performance of the companies. Therefore, a regular tariff filing, which was not there earlier, For almost 7-8 years, we did not file tariff filings. Even if it was done, it was the same tariff which was repeated. So last year we had gone for a increase of 5 to 6%. Again, this year we would be filing. So regular nominal increase of tariff, and most important is to bring down the power purchase cost.
Okay.
In the whole thing, the main thing has been that without proper planning, we had gone for short-term purchases of power at exorbitant rates of 13 to 14 a unit, and then supplying to consumers at 5 or 6. That is where the 70,000 crores loss had come. So now we had tied up power on a long-term basis at economical rate of 450, below 5, so that whenever we give it to the consumers.
Okay.
And fourth step has been giving 24/7 to all the consumers, particularly industries. See, in the past, when there were power cuts, it was imposed on the industry.
Okay, so Mr. Jain, at the moment, are both your discom companies in the green?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, they have come out of red. I would not say green, I would say they are in the orange now. So it has come out of the red. Last year we had brought down, last entire year our losses were about 700 to 800 crores, which should not be, but then within a manageable figure. And this year we want to, by the year end, we want to ensure that no longer the future losses will not be there.
Okay. Pramod Deo, the former chairperson of CERC, is also with us. Mr. Deo, come in on this. How much has the operational or the financial performance of Discoms as a whole improved, say, since the FY14 due to the implementation of the FRP? And going ahead, if this proposal to recast the loans is successful, how much of an improvement do you see for the sector?
Well, from the newspaper reports, what I gather is that the note is going to the cabinet, where instead of now this 50%, which was the old UPA package, the new package is that 100% of the loan has to be taken by state government, and they have to issue those state bonds. And in case of the default, the subsidy which goes from central government, it will be adjusted against that. That's the package. Because the 8 states which are really creating problems, now those are the states which have got the large losses. Andhra is also one of them, but I don't have detailed information about Andhra. But the problem really lies in that you are subsidizing certain category of consumers. Mainly it is agriculture. And for that, state already bears sufficiently large burden from its budget. What happens is that whatever the tariff is determined by the state regulator, and if you want to reduce it further, then the state government has to give subsidy. Now, just to give an example, of Maharashtra, where the tariff determined for agriculture is 3 rupees, but Maharashtra government wants to give it as around 1 rupee 30 paisa. So that money is given. That nearly comes to 4,500 crore. But even this 3 rupee is only 51% of the average cost of supply. So that means the industry is cross-subsidizing, because Maharashtra is such a glaring example, though it is financial performance is considered good. If you look at Maharashtra, you will find there are only 16,000 consumers who are contributing 41% revenue.
Really?
And we have 2 crore 1 lakh who contribute only. That's the problem.
Okay. We were expecting iniquitous numbers, but not this much. Well, actually, Mr. Dev, there are a couple of inconsistencies which we need to understand. Even we read that 100% of the discom debt would go to the governments. But Mr. BP Sharma has been speaking about 50%. Mr. Sharma, have you been told at all whether 50% of the discom debt will go or 100% of the discom debt will go to the governments?
See, I am just quoting from the press only. Unless it comes in black and white. What I understand, it is 50%.
Okay. No, there were a lot of press reports suggesting 100%. Yesterday, when we asked the secretaries at the press conference, the secretaries of the finance ministry, they just merely said it is work in progress and did not elaborate whether it is 50 or 100%.
Exactly.
Mr. Jain, would you know? Is it 100% of the debt
no,
going
actually, see, now Andhra Pradesh, we are no longer in the red, as I said, so we are not being considered for any further assistance. So, and we do not require that also. After FRP of 2013, now which are being considered, we are no longer there. So I'm really not aware. Of course, there was a meeting with Minister Piyush Goyalji on 12th of September. So it was discussed, some of the states like UP, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu. So these were the states which were primarily being considered. And it was pointed out that Andhra no longer requires further assistance.
Okay. Mr. Dev, what was your sense? Which are, you spoke about 8 states. Now clearly Andhra is out of it. UP, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu were the 3 troubled states. Which are the others?
I think Haryana is one, Jharkhand is another, then Telengana is there. Because you see, I got only the newspaper report, from that what I'm saying, but these 8 states, the focus has to be on that. And according to that report, even Andhra is included. But anyway, those are the matters of detail. But what we are looking at is that why I gave the example of Maharashtra. Also, I started studying Gujarat, because these are the states which are performing very well. Those are the kind of models where they had done feeder separation, so that you know how much electricity is being consumed by agriculture sector. Otherwise, in all the states where the proper metering is not there, you can't meter agriculture. The result is you don't know how much electricity goes to agriculture consumers. So in that case, when we talk about the AT&C losses, it still remains a guess estimate. And then we make tall claims that we have reduced them by so much percentage. But have we really reduced? Because otherwise, those inefficiencies continue. So this is really the problem that we have. And the problem really comes is a very political one. No? How much subsidy a state government can afford to give to agriculture? Now, Maharashtra's case, they are giving total subsidy of 8,500 crores. So out of that, say half is given by the state government, half comes from the tariff. And the tariff is so skewed.
I'm sorry, I just have to complete this conversation because we don't have much time. Mr. Sharma, if you can just wrap up by telling us what exactly is the exposure that Bank of India has to SCBs?
SCBs, we have about 1%.
Okay.
Okay. And
what would the...
But no NPA. But no NPA. All the accounts are standard.
Okay. Mr. Jain, are you privy to any conversation about whether 50% or 100% will be transferred to Discoms at all?
No.
Even though you are not that case?
No. That meeting I was there, but it was decided that something would be done. But what exactly, whether it is 50 or 100, we are not aware.
And will there be enough, if the 100% is shifted, will a 25 basis point increase in the FRBM limit suffice? Or will a large, leeway have to be given on FRBM limit?
No, that will, I think, depend on the states because, each state financial position and borrowing capacity. But yes, it was decided that FRBM limits will be increased to some extent. That is what was discussed that day in the meeting held on 12th by Honorable Minister with all the chief secretaries of 8 states were there. But then in that it was pointed out that the states which really matter are 3 to 4 states which is pointed out.
Okay. Mr. Sharma, you said that you have a 1% exposure to the SCBs. Can you just give us some numbers to the power sector as a whole? What is your exposure? And within that, how much?
Power sector, it will be around 15,000 crore.
Okay.
Okay. And SCB would be?
SCB will be 1% of our credit rate. How much? Say around 4,000.
Right. Actually, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, Mr. Dev, Mr. Sharma and Mr. Jain for joining us and helping us understand some contours of this problem. Well, clearly, it is still a matter of conjecture whether the entire debt would be shifted, but it would be only 4 states or 5 states which are perhaps problem states. We will continue this conversation with other Discom heads as well. For the moment, we have to take a break.